From parasites to cannibals to horrible amalgamations, this game is dark. So I've created a list of progressively more disturbing Dark Souls facts and lore. To start, let's look at the Firekeepers, and specifically Anastacia, as she is one of the bleakest fates in the entire game. A Firekeeper is a corporeal manifestation of a bonfire, and on a side note, bonfires aren't normal at all, they're actually fueled by bones. And it's not just any bones, but the bones of people, and specifically the undead. But going back to Anastacia, and the first thing you notice is she is mute. We later learn that her tongue was cut off so she couldn't say impure things. As well as that, her soul implies that her being imprisoned could either be her choice or against her will. However, I believe we can figure this out. And if you look closer, her skirt is bloodied. The item description implies she was intentionally wounded or even mutilated so she couldn't escape. Later on, Lortrek kills her and steals her soul. After you track him down and take it back, you can revive her. However, she's not even grateful, stating that she is impure. Throughout the entire game, she only wants one thing, and that's to die as a human, meaning her entire existence is a path she never chose. The Butchers are one of my favorite disturbing enemies due to their obvious design but not so obvious environmental storytelling, which has to do with this little hole in the back of their shop. We find this enemy chopping up meat within their shop. However, we quickly learn due to their helmet's item description is that they're man-eaters or cannibals, which we can actually find some of their meat alive. Laurentius is trapped in a barrel upstairs and states that,
"She'll have me for lunch."
As pointed out by this deleted Reddit user, behind the butcher's cutting table there is a chute where they discard their scraps, emphasized by the enormous amount of bones at the bottom. Looking around the area, we can see that there are rats. However, only one is located in the same room as the chute, and it's absolutely huge. We can assume it's been feeding off of humans for a while now, and that's what's resulted in its enormous size. The egg carriers have one of the grossest designs in the game. Within Izalith, we find them in a constant praying position. Their bodies are being used as fuel for the parasites growing out of them. When we kill them, they burst open with maggots. One small detail I find that makes them all the more tragic is that most of them don't even attack you. By many people's standards, this is one of the scariest enemies, due to how weirdly it stands out and its horrific design, which you never notice until it's too late. So what are these guys? They're left pretty in the dark, but Senta on Reddit has a great idea of where they came from. Odds are they're demons born from leeches. As the Flame of Chaos created all sorts of creatures from the Taurus demon to the Crag Spider, I believe it now transformed the leeches. By comparing the two, you can notice their skin both match, and their spit attack mirrors each other. However, there's one major design that ties it all together. And I mean, come on, the mouth is practically the same as real life leeches. Before the next segment, I'd like to quickly say this video is sponsored by Flexispot, specifically their C7Max chair. I sit an unhealthy amount, editing, scripting, recording, usually around 8 to 10 hours a day. My old chair was one of those things I'd been meaning to replace for a long time because my back was slowly starting to hate me. It wobbled, the padding was completely cooked, and after long sessions, you just feel it. I'd been looking for something comfortable and reliable for a while, and then Flexispot reached out. The C7Max immediately felt better. The first thing I noticed was how adjustable everything is. The headrest tilts exactly where your neck wants it. The backrest height moves so it actually fits your body, and the lumbar support isn't just jammed into one spot. It supports your lower back and your sacrum, which makes a big difference when you're sitting for long stretches. You can also adjust the seat depth, as well as that the seat cushion itself uses memory foam with a 0.2-inch latex layer, so it's soft but still supportive. My favorite part is the 5D armrests. They adjust in basically every direction. So whether I'm typing, gaming, or just leaning back and existing, your arms are always supported. And of course, it reclines. Footrest out, lean back, and reset your spine for a minute. If you're on a tighter budget, Flexispot also has the C5 chair. If you want something even more advanced, they also just launched the C7 Morpher. If you've been meaning to upgrade your chair and actually take care of your back, I can recommend Flexispot's C7 Max ergonomic chair. They back it with a 30-day risk-free return and a 10-year warranty. If you want to check it out, use my code C750 to get $50 off the C7Max. Thank you again to the sponsor. One of the happiest characters in the game also has one of the saddest deaths. Every encounter we find Siegmeyer in, he's in some sort of problem, and every time we solve that problem, to the point where it eats away at him. His breaking point actually happens within Izalith. He tries to repay his debt by helping us with the Chaos Eaters. However, this only has one of two outcomes. Either he dies, or you have to save him, and once again, you've rescued him. While this is all going on, Siegmeyer is unaware that his wife has passed away, so his daughter takes it upon herself to deliver her mother's final words, and she spends the entire game searching for him. Finally, she is able to find him. However, on his final adventure, he goes hollow, leaving his daughter with only one option, and that is to kill him. In the end, she's standing over her father, crying. With one enemy, we are specifically able to see how Nito's plague brutally kills creatures. These dragons are possibly some of the last dragons alive, and with closer inspection, we can see how Nito left them in this rotting, half-dead state. Their eyes are these sunken black holes, their wings are tattered and ripped, and I mean they can barely hold their bodies together. Not to mention the one in Ariamus drags itself forward without legs, leaving its lower half behind. Originally, one of the artists covered the dragon in maggots. However, Miyazaki stopped them, stating to try and capture the sadness of this great creature as it marches towards extinction. Especially when compared to what they used to be, their dying state looks all the more tragic. Pinwheel is one of the weakest bosses in the game, but his lore is one of the darkest. He isn't a single being, but rather a father fused to his deceased mother and child. Pinwheel is a necromancer who stole power from Nito, but for what reason? Well, the name of the three masks on Pinwheel are father, mother, and child. We can assume that his family passed away, and he sought the power to either revive or mend his deceased family to himself. This is highlighted by the 6 arms and thicker back. As well as that, this amazing drawing shows what's under the cloak. And finally, the name Pinwheel roughly translates to 3 people in Japanese. As we find the Ceaseless Discharge, she is in constant pain, and it feels all the more tragic because of how passive he is and what he used to be. Previously, he was the son of the Witch of Izalith, transformed by the Flame of Chaos, now in perpetual torturous pain. He was born with sores inflamed by lava since birth, so his sisters made him a ring to lessen what pain he was in. However, he accidentally dropped it, bringing back the suffering, with the game even calling him a fool for it. After the Flame of Chaos transformed him, he couldn't handle the flame within his body, which had him burning constantly. What I find to be the saddest part of it all is he only attacks you because he's watching over what he believes to be his dead sister, and you have to go and steal his only memento. As said by Miyazaki in an interview, he stands gazing up at the ruins where his sisters live. The only source of comfort in his pitiful, painful existence is the belief that they are watching over him. Quelaag and her sister are the result of a horrible decision done by their mother, which has left them in this monstrous state. The Witch of Izalith tried to recreate the first flame. However, the failure resulted in the mutation of her and her sisters. The witch along with her 2 daughters were transformed into the Bed of Chaos. However, Quelaag and the Fair Lady barely escaped and were bound to 2 spiders, the result being these grotesque amalgamations. Their base was located at the bottom of Blighttown, with the residents as their followers. However, against Quelaag's order, the Fair Lady couldn't handle their suffering and would suck out the blight pus, except it left her in this weakened and blinded state. Even more tragically, it made her spider eggs unable to create life. Quelana, their only non-mutated sister, asks you to put them out of their misery, so that's what you do. However, the only reason Quelaag attacks you is to gather humanity and give it to her sister so she can keep on living, except you kill Quelaag, leaving her sister to slowly die. Eventually, we find her corpse and still eggs buried deep within the ruins. These snake-like creatures deep within Duke's archives are more than just a common enemy. They are the result of Seath's work. What they used to be were human women before they were kidnapped and experimented on. Seath would send out his servants, the channelers, who would look for humans to be kidnapped and experimented on. These women would be turned into the Picasas. However, these aren't just random people, and 2 of them were Guinevere's handmaidens, which is confirmed by them dropping the soothing sunlight and bountiful sunlight. Except that's not even the worst part. These 2 handmaidens refuse to attack you and just sit there crying. Within New Londo, we can see the horrific result of a single mistake. Koth tempted the 4 kings with the power of Life Drain, and they accepted it. That power turned them into pawns of evil, and even their knights learned to use it. They became what we know as the Dark Wraiths, which were described as the enemies of man. Them and the Concern of the Abyss were so feared, they made the tragic decision to flood the city, drowning every single person in it, resulting in piles of bodies everywhere. We can actually see what has become of these people. For some of them, their souls fused together into a massive amalgamation of bodies, while others became cursed ghosts that now drift throughout the city. Worst of all, the sacrifice was mostly pointless. The Dark Wraiths survived and can still be found far into the future in Dark Souls 3. Hey, thanks for watching. YouTube actually says you like this video, so make sure to check it out.